Hi, everybody. So, all know I had a discussion with Vegan Equilibrium, um, and I basically was explaining how consuming legumes can actually lead to rheumatoid arthritis, is because legumes contain lectins, which are an anti-nutrient. And he basically was saying that everything that I said was bullshit. He said that I was anti-science, that there was no evidence for anything that I said. I was completely making everything up. So I'm going to get started just by playing the video on Finding Gnosis' channel, and then I'm going to actually show the receipts because I actually researched the information that I give. I don't just spot out nonsense like some of these people. Some of these people are telling you to go on a plant-based diet, and they don't even know anything basic about nutrition. They don't know anything about anti-nutrients. They don't know about the negative health outcomes, but they're telling you to consume a lectin-laden diet, and they're claiming that this is healthy. So let's get started by playing this video.
LA, have a good moan for me, please. LA. LA.
Yeah, actually, there's things you can take for rheumatoid arthritis. You can take alpha-lipoic acid. There's like several of them, but I would think that the strongest one you can take or the most potent and effective is alpha-lipoic acid. I had it some years ago, and of course, it's something that you have to manage for the rest of your life, but you don't have to deal with it. You can actually eliminate the symptoms.
Yeah, but thing is, but I've had mine for past 30 years. 30 years ago, all this information didn't exist. Yes, I'm fine now. I'm 71 years old and I've almost cured myself using stinging nettle and comfrey, so that I've been using. But it takes your whole life over. It does.
Well, but a lot of it has to do with your diet also. I mean, unfortunately.
Oh, no, life abolitionism. I lead a very, very low inflammation diet. Very low. I don't.
Are you sure? I mean, okay, I'll leave it at that. I mean, you don't want to be insulting because they think that a plant-based diet is healthy. And I mean, I understand that they take it seriously, but at the same time, a lot of them are not being told information about anti-nutrients. So they're being told that meat is unhealthy and that a plant-based diet is healthy. All anti-nutrients are plant-based. There's not a single anti-nutrient that is, well, that's not necessary. I guess, no, lactose is not an anti-nutrient. You can have, you can become lactose intolerant, but there's really nothing that is animal-based that is an anti-nutrient. I'm not going to give a whole spiel about anti-nutrients. For the purpose of this live stream, I'm only going to talk about anti-nutrients. I mean, the specific lectin as an anti-nutrient. I mean, I try to be pedagogical, but at the same time, it's not my responsibility to educate people. Like, if this is your diet, then you should know some basic information about the diet that you are advocating for other people to adopt. If you're telling people to eat a whole bunch of legumes and you don't even know that they contain lectin, that is a problem.
My diet. No, it's to do with it's genetic. I've got the type that shows up in blood tests.
It's partially genetic. What it is that you have a genetic marker which makes you intolerant to lectin. And I'm going to get to the studies in a minute, but it's partially, but it's primarily driven by your diet.
It's genetic.
Unfortunately, peanut butter has lectins, and lectins are inflammatory, and it can actually lead to leaky gut.
So what about all the meat eaters that have rheumatoid arthritis?
No, this is what they always get wrong. Most meat eaters are omnivores. They're not on a carnivore diet. So even if they are omnivores, they're still consuming a high amount of lectins and other anti-nutrients. So you can't say, well, what about the meat eaters? Because they're probably consuming a comparable amount of peanut butter or beans or other legumes, just like anybody else. So unless you're going to completely eliminate all of these anti-nutrients, then you can't, it's not a fair comparison.
No, actually, you're wrong.
See, because I was actually trying to talk to Chickpea because Chickpea was talking about her rheumatoid arthritis. I came to give her some information. I recommended a supplement, and he did not offer any information whatsoever to help her. But as soon as I provide some useful information, now he wants to interject because he wants to engage in gatekeeping in order to steer people in a vegan direction. You can talk about the ethics of going vegan, but you still have to be honest about the health implications of maintaining a plant-based diet. He doesn't want the information to get out. He doesn't know anything about anti-nutrients. This is probably the first time he even heard of lectins. He did not know what a lectin is.
Actually, that's just made up bullshit.
What's made up?
What you're saying.
Are you saying that peanuts don't have lectins?
I'm saying that whatever you're saying is harmful in peanuts is not.
Do you have any? You can't just say that it's not true without.
Well, you can't just say it is. You can't just say it is true
he
without.
made a declaratory statement that what I said was false. He didn't ask me to provide evidence. This is what they always do because they think they have a monopoly on all information. They're always right, and that whole logical fallacy of the ought is logical fallacy that basically a plant-based diet is ethical. Therefore, their entire framework revolves around their ethics. So their framework says that humans should be herbivores, therefore humans are herbivores. No evidence whatsoever. They take an ethical position and then they make it dominate everything else. So because humans should be herbivores, then we can consume lectins, we can eat grass, we can consume everything that a ruminant animal would consume, and we're not going to have any negative health implications.
Back, you're gonna link some fucking blog article. You're gonna link some blog article.
No, there are medical doctors. You see how insulting he is? He thinks that I don't actually know how to conduct research. I would just pull a blog interview, a blog article. There's who have done. I'm not sure.
Oh, why don't you link the research? Let's look at the research. Sure. Come on, man. Put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
Put your money where your mouth is.
What are you doing? By the way, when this was going on, actually driving through snow, and so he's asking me to give him some research on the spot. This is what they always do, by the way. They're too lazy to do their own due diligence. They want you to be their personal research assistant. They're the ones who are telling you to consume a plant-based diet, but they're not. They think it's your duty to provide them with the information. So basically, you have to defend you have to defend their position. You have to provide evidence against their position. No, they're the ones who are telling you to consume a plant-based diet. They're the ones who are saying that it's healthy. The burden is on them to prove that it is healthy. Right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're not
make shit up. Just make shit up.
That I'm making. In a second, I'm going to show you all the receipts because he's claiming that I'm making shit up. Okay, this is ridiculous what you're doing right now. I'm driving through snow, and I wanted to have a quick conversation with Chickpea. I wasn't even going to
making stuff up, trying to demonize plant foods to make yourself feel better about hurting animals.
See, this is the problem because I was actually trying to. You don't want me to be antagonistic. Because he said that I was attacking him. His feelings were hurt. He was being a snowflake. And I came on trying to be cordial, and now all of a sudden he wants to attack me. But then when I go on the offense, all of a sudden everybody wants to cry and talk about how, oh, I'm attacking everybody. Whatever, be cordial. But you're pushing me in the opposite direction. You're forcing me to be more anti-vegan, and now you're forcing me to do content where I'm going to have to talk about the anti-nutrients and plants, and then you guys are going to be more. I absolutely did not want to talk about this, but the more they try to gaslight me and say that I don't know what I'm talking about, they're forcing me to go further in the opposite direction because you guys don't. I mean, a lot of people don't want to know this stuff, and that's fine. You don't want to know, but for a lot of people, your eyes need to be woken up to where you're actually consuming, and you think that the problems you're having have nothing to do with your diet. They absolutely do. More upset with me. You're forcing me to do this. I was not anti-vegan until you started doing this stuff. What you're doing right now, you're saying that I'm you don't even know about anti-nutrients. Sure. You don't know anything about anti-nutrients.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I put to do this, yeah, of course.
I'd just like to say, okay, now I eat a very healthy lifestyle. I'm 71 years old. I've outlived quite a few meat eaters, I would say. I also know quite a few meat eaters who got RA.
Again, those meat eaters are omnivores. They're consuming a plant and meat based diet. I'm not even going to play this entire video. Let me start by going. This is from the Kaplan Health Institute, and I know this isn't a primary source, but I'm going to get to the actual studies in a second. Lectins and autoimmunity. You may have heard about lectins lately. They've received more attention in the media for their possible adverse effects on health. For some people, lectins can cause issues, especially with digestion. That's why some people benefit from reducing or eliminating lectins from the diet. What are lectins? Lectins are just a form of anti-nutrients. Again, I'm not giving a full review of all anti-nutrients. This is not nutrition. Although I did take a nutrition course, I'm not an expert to actually be an authority on nutrition. So what exactly are lectins and what is their link to autoimmunity? They're proteins that bind to carbohydrates and are found in almost all organisms, including plants, animals, and microbes. Found in all plant foods, lectins are found at exceptionally high levels in whole grains, legumes, seeds, nuts, and nightshades. I've talked about nightshades in the past. Nightshades can lead to, they can lead to eczema. I had psoriasis because I was consuming raw peanuts and I didn't make the connection. No doctor was able to help me. I went to several doctors, and I'm not even going to tell y'all what I did to cure myself of psoriasis, because you would say that is unethical, but it is what it is. I did it, it worked, and now my skin is clear. The type of lectins in these foods are called, I'm not sure how, agglutins and prolamins. Lectins are considered anti-nutrients because they can interfere with the absorption of other nutrients, including calcium, iron, phosphorus, and zinc. Lectins can play a part in plant defense against plant-eating organisms. This is what you guys don't understand. So because of evolution, plants have evolved, they have their own defense system. And their defense system is that they produce their own chemicals, which are called anti-nutrients, which prevent the overconsumption of plants. So that's how they defend themselves against overgrazing. If you were a ruminant animal, or if you were an herbivore, you actually have the ability to process those anti-nutrients because your body ferments those anti-nutrients and makes the actual nutrition more bioavailable. But if you're not an herbivore, if you don't have a large stomach, a 4-chamber stomach like a deer or other ruminants, then you don't have the ability to ferment plants, and you don't have the ability to process those anti-nutrients. There are healthier ways. It's all about it's all about how food is prepared. But if it's not prepared properly, if you're just consuming a whole bunch of legumes, then you're going to have some problems. Now, I'm not going to go through. Let me just quickly. Lectins can become harmful when they block the absorption of nutrients in the body because they bind to carbohydrates like sugar. Some lectins contain poisonous compounds such as ricin. Lectins can bind to your gastrointestinal walls and cause abdominal pain, diarrhea, vomiting, especially the lectin known as I don't know how to pronounce some of these medical terms. I'm going to get to the studies because I'm not going to be here very, very long. Let's get to this first study. All right. Reevaluation of dietary interventions in rheumatoid arthritis. Can we improve patient conversions around food choices? You guys are going to have to do your own due diligence. This is just a quick overview. But if you're actually interested in your health, then you have to research this yourself. It's not I know I've been spoon feeding people information, but at the same time, I still have, I can't be your research assistant. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease characterized by systemic inflammation that primarily involves symmetric joint inflammation resulting in joint pain. Left untreated, it progresses to cartilage and bone destruction. Symptoms, however, are not confined to the joints and may include the heart, lungs, kidneys, skin, and eyes. Therefore, rheumatoid arthritis is a systemic disease, and any organ may be susceptible to tissue damage, gastrointestinal intestinal symptoms, including nausea, acid reflux, and abdominal pain, are common in rheumatoid arthritis. And rheumatoid arthritis patients can also often exhibit disruption to the normal, well-balanced microbial ecosystem, along with increased immune cell infiltration within the lamina propria. Now, what this study is going to show is exactly what I said during that whole discussion. It leads to leaky gut. A recent study has shown that the removal of the gut microbiota with bowel cleansing followed by a 7-day fasting period protocol in rheumatoid arthritis patients led to a significant decline in DAS28 scores and markers of inflammation and mucosal barrier disruption. I think that is okay. Let me just a little bit more. The clinical results described above suggest that food hypersensitivity may be involved in the pathogenesis of rheumatoid arthritis in certain patients. Using newer technology, Yang and colleagues reported that 83% of rheumatoid are positive for at least one wheat protein antibody. Importantly, a decrease in gliadin and lactoglobulin were observed in the subgroup of rheumatoid arthritis patients who responded to a GF vegan diet. These data suggest that the translocation of food-derived peptides may occur in proportion of rheumatoid arthritis patients, leading to activation of immune system and antibody production. The positive effect of a GF vegan diet in a subgroup of patients may be due to a diminished immune response to exogenous food antigens. Taken together, the body of research suggests that the antigenic load is higher in rheumatoid arthritis patients compared to the control population. A subgroup of rheumatoid arthritis patients respond favorably to fasting, and these positive effects are maintained when an individual is placed on a gluten-free or personalized food reintroduction protocol. That's what I had to do, by the way. I had to reintroduce my food. I had to basically do a cleanse. And then I cleared I'm not talking about rheumatoid arthritis, but I'm talking about inflammation, which I had psoriasis. But the inflammation is entirely related to your diet. These findings suggest that fasting by removing the offending foods can improve rheumatoid arthritis symptoms in certain individuals. Now let's go to the second study. I actually have more, but I don't have time to go through all these studies. You guys are going to have to do your own due diligence. This is really simple. I'm not, again, if you want me to be your research assistant, then you're going to have to pay me a fee, because that is not my responsibility. The modulation of immune function by dietary lectins in rheumatoid arthritis. Now, I don't know how to read all these terms. Some of these terms are kind of foreign to me, but I'm going to try to get through this. Common dietary staples such as cereal, grains, and legumes contain glycoproteins called lectins, which have potent anti-nutritional properties, which influence the structure and function of both enterocytes and lymphocytes. Wheat germ, agglutinin, and lectins in general bind surface lichens on gut brush border epithelial cells, causing damage to the base of the villi, which I actually took a class which they were trying to teach us how to read some of these medical terms, which includes the disarrangement of cytoskeleton, increased endocytosis. I know I'm probably butchering a lot of these words. Not only dietary lectins increase gut permeability. When they talk about gut permeability, they're talking about leaky gut. Y'all thinking I'm making this up? He said that I just pulled this stuff out of my ass. Here's the science. Thereby allowing increased patches of dietary and gut-derived bacterial antigens into the periphery. They may also cause a bacterial overgrowth, which facilitates the preferential growth of gut bacteria, such as, I'm not reading that. A dietary lectin derived from kidney beans causes accelerated erythrocyte cell turnover, which leads to an increased in proportion of juvenile cells, likely that PHH and other dietary lectins operate in the same manner to induce similar changes in other gut flora species. Legume and cereal lectins alter the microflora of the gut and increase intestinal permeability. Again, we're talking about leaky gut, which in turn facilitates the translocation of gut pathogens to the periphery. Kidney bean lectins is lethally toxic for conventional rats when given in high doses, but is non-toxic and for germ-free animals. Again, it's about preparation. If it's not prepared properly, you're going to be consuming a lot of lectins. Legumes are almost always consumed in a cooked state, and it is often assumed that cooking eliminates lectin activity. However, Grant et al. Have demonstrated that residual lectin activity is present in kidney beans even when cooked at 85 degrees for 6 hours or at 90 degrees for 3 hours. Lectin activity has been demonstrated in wheat, rye, barley, oats, maize, and rice. There's so many. Okay. I need to, if you guys want me to do a full review about these anti-nutrients, I can, because apparently people are not going to research themselves. But if I do it, then you're going to say that I'm pushing anti-vegan propaganda, which I don't really want to do. But Vegan Equilibrium said that I was making shit up. So you're forcing me to show the receipts to show that I actually know what I'm talking about. There's some evidence to suggest that RF, which is rheumatoid factor production, may be influenced by dietary proteins. Farley et al. Showed that 53 of 93 patients with rheumatoid arthritis had raised levels of IgG antibodies to milk and or wheat proteins. These data are suggestive of a breakdown of gastrointestinal tolerance to dietary antigens in this group of patients and indicate that rheumatoid factors productions may occur in response to gastrointestinal related antigens. Again, this is talking about leaky gut, but it's also talking about a breakdown of gut flora because of a lectin-laden diet. It is apparent that dietary lectins from both cereal grains and legumes increase the translocation of gut-derived bacterial and dietary antigens to the periphery, causing an intestinal bacterial overgrowth and increasing intestinal permeability. Additionally, dietary lectins have the ability to interact with components of the immune system, which may facilitate the autoimmune process. Further, because dietary lectins increase intestinal permeability, they would promote increased activity between immune system and gut bacteria. Now let's see if there's anybody here. So according to Vegan Equilibrium, I just made all that shit up. I just pulled all this stuff out of my ass. I couldn't back it up. Now I would love what his response is going to be, because I know he's going to move the goalpost. What he's probably going to say is, oh, well, lectins do cause all these problems, but if they're prepared properly, then they're safe. That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. So don't move the goalpost. Do y'all want me to finish playing the rest of that? Because that whole discussion was absolutely ridiculous. he said I just made stuff up. Does it look like I made stuff up? I just gave the scientific research on it. There's a lot more. I could provide more studies. I don't have time to do it. It is not my responsibility to do it. The burden is on him. He's the one telling me to consume lectins. The burden is on him. There is no science to back up what I said. That's pseudoscience. Y'all hear this shit? It's pseudoscience. I just pulled this out of my ass. I don't know anything. Slam dunk. Pull up. Pull up. Slam dunk. Right. I could say something really nasty. I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to be somewhat pedagogical here. Um, no, you're the one who doesn't even know what a lectin is. So I would say that you're the clown. You don't even know what the hell you're consuming, and you're telling other people that this is a healthy way to live. He was triggered. He was triggered. He got his feelings hurt because he didn't want this smoke. And we had this whole conversation about this whole misanthropic approach. They're saying that their misanthropy is actually more effective. That if you just shame people, if you bully them, that is the most effective way for vegan advocacy. No, they turned me this way. I was not always this way. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything. I didn't know that a lot of them don't have any empathy for humans. I didn't know that anybody thought like this. I thought it was self-evident that your own preservation should come first, that you would not want to sacrifice your health, that you would not want rats crawling in your house, that common sense would say that if a rat came in your house, you would want to kill it in order for your own survival. But no, they would say, let the rat crawl into your bed. I wasn't talking about him specifically. I was talking about the group of people who were piling on. No, he didn't push me to it. What he pushed me to do was to go look it up. And then I came to the conclusion that the bullshit that he was saying was the actual pseudoscience. All right, y'all. So according to him, I couldn't back it up. Wait a minute. What are you saying? You can't hear it? Why is that happening? I don't understand. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. I don't know why you guys couldn't hear it. It was playing the entire time. All right. It's not just allergies though. It's the actual plant-based protein which binds to carbohydrates and it leads to inflammation. It destroys your gut flora. It leads to an overgrowth of bad bacteria, which is highly inflammatory. So it is what it is. I would be interested to see what his response is going to be. I don't know why you couldn't hear the video, but with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream.